Welcome back to Top Guest Studio with me, your host, Joe. Last week we had an amazing second guest, the man himself, Mr. Ben Hannett. This week we have local Gold Coaster and New Zealander, Ray. Now, she has worked on some of the biggest events from Glasgow Games to the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games. We want to make her feel welcome, people. So please welcome my guest, Ray. Hello, Ray.
Hi. Hi, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to Top Guest Studio. Now, this studio is all about the guests and also the very hard questions.
Whoa. Should I be nervous?
Probably.
Lucky I am then.
Now, we have some of the hardest questions in this studio. Now, our studio is known for one exclusive game show. We call it the Rapid Fire Round. Now, this is a quick question answering game show. So, welcome to Top Guest.
Thanks very much for having me.
So, what is it like from Gold Coast, difficult to NZ?
Well, I actually come from a beach-type town in New Zealand, a place called Mount Maunganui, and although it's a lot smaller to the Gold Coast, it's very similar in what it offers. So beautiful beaches, and then we've also got sort of the mountains and the waterfalls sort of out the back of our city. The people are wonderful both here and in New Zealand, and I've got some brilliant friends here on the coast. But no family, so I do miss my family when I'm here on the Gold Coast. But yeah, quite a few similarities actually between my home in New Zealand and my home here on the Gold Coast.
Now that is very, very true. Is it very different working on an Olympics compared to a Commonwealth Games?
Well, to be honest, I didn't actually get the opportunity to work on an Olympics, but I have worked on other major events like the Rugby World Cup, which was hosted in London in 2015. Also World Masters Games, which was in New Zealand in 2017. And as you said, I have worked on two Commonwealth Games now, one in Glasgow in 2014 and the one that was recently held here in the Gold Coast just last year. So there are quite a few similarities on the major events, especially because I've worked in the same division every time I've worked on a different event. So my department that I work in is known as accreditation. And for those who don't know what that is, I guess the simple form of what accreditation is the ID card that everybody wears around their neck to provide access into different venues. So have you seen those before?
I have not.
You have not? Yeah.
No.
Well, maybe next time you're watching a major event, you can have a look on the TV and you'll see the lanyards and the cards that everyone wears around their neck. So that's what I produce and distribute at the major events.
Yeah, so we know you're a New Zealander. We want to know, have you been to the rugby and have you watched the All Blacks perform their haka?
I have been privileged enough to go to the rugby and see the All Blacks perform and play. So as we discussed, I worked on the Rugby World Cup in London, and I did manage to get to about 4 or 5 of their games over there. And I've also seen them play in other competitions in the UK and in New Zealand. So yeah, I have been very privileged to see the haka performed live, and it is a really spine-tingling performance. Something that really gets sort of the country going, and I know a lot of other people from around the world appreciate the haka and love to see that as well. So is it something you've seen live?
I haven't seen it live, but I've seen it on TV.
Yeah.
And I have, for the multicultural, I performed for the respect of the elders of New Zealand, and so we performed it at our school multicultural night.
Oh wow.
And so we performed it, and so I'd like to do a tribute to the haka. I actually got to learn the haka that is known as kamate, so we did that. So I'd like to do the haka.
Amazing, I'm looking forward to it.
Tōringa whakarau, kia mau, huia! cold, cold. Dinay to tongata. Huru na nai tiki. My fucker fifty tira. Oh bunny, oh bunny, oh bunny, coupon my fucker fifty tira. Here.
Wow, that was brilliant. I'll have to let the boys know that if they're missing someone in their team, that we've got a great fill-in here on the Gold Coast. That was amazing, well done.
So what is it that you do at the supercars?
Well, right now I'm calming down after that electric performance. But yeah, so now I work here on the Gold Coast for the supercars. I've only been with them for 3 months, so I'm quite fresh in the team. But again, I've been brought on to work in their accreditation and ticketing department. So accreditation, as I mentioned before, is now something that I definitely specialise in. And it's been brilliant. I've been able to come into the organisation with a fresh pair of eyes, not having worked in the supercar industry before. But I guess the bonus for the supercars team too is they haven't had someone work in their organisation that has had specialist expertise in the area of accreditation. So yeah, it's quite a big job. I travel to all of our supercar promoted events across the entire nation, across Australia, and I also go to Auckland to do the event over there in Pukekohe. So a lot of travel's involved. I'm actually heading to Perth on Monday, and I've just recently got back from being in Tasmania and Phillip Island with the teams down there as well. So yeah, it's quite a big job, just making sure that everybody that needs access to the venue has an accreditation pass to get in, and those who are being issued tickets also have their tickets. And I also do a little bit of work with managing the pit lane walks and the grid walks before the start of the main race.
So have you got to meet many of the famous supercar drivers that we all know and love?
I have had the privilege of being in the presence of some of the drivers recently. As I said, I'm not really familiar with the sport, so I'm getting to know all of these new drivers and people from the wider organisation and sport, sort of as I go to all of the events. And sometimes it can actually be a little bit embarrassing because I'm in the presence of famous people and I don't actually know who they are. But yeah, just the other week when I was in Phillip Island, so 2 weeks ago, I had the privilege of interacting with, who was it? Scott McLaughlin and Shane Van Gisbergen both came to see me, and also David Reynolds. I did recognise their faces and very quickly was able to put names to the faces to save embarrassment and get the job done that I needed to do with those guys. And there's been a few others that have sort of popped in and out, and I'm getting to know them sort of more and more as I go to the events. But yeah, still a lot of people to meet. It's a big team that travels with these events, so yeah.
Yeah, because we have on the Gold Coast every October and November we have the biggest supercar event known as the GC600. Now they race around Surfers Paradise, the track is electric, the crowd is electric, and you can hear the motors humming from my place.
Yeah? Wow. I have not actually been to the Gold Coast 600 before, but last year when it was on I could hear the motors from my place as well, but I'm going to be right amongst it this year. Come October, I'll have my little office set up right down on the beachfront actually, and we'll be positioned down there for a good 2.5 weeks before the event even kicks off, so you'll have to come see me.
So now, what matters, what does the Masters Games in New Zealand, how old do you have to be to compete in it?
Oh well, that's a great question. So yes, I was part of the World Masters Games organisation or organisational committee. That event took place, as I said, in 2017. There were 46 different sports that happened in that games, and it depended on what sport you played in as to how old you had to be to compete. So the age of a master differs from sport to sport. So for example, you only had to be 25 years old to compete in swimming. That's because majority of top swimmers are actually very young, so you're generally already a master by the age of 25. But then there were some other sports such as rugby where you might have had to have been like 40 to compete. Fun fact, we had a woman who travelled from India to compete in athletics, and do you want to guess how old she was?
Yes, I would.
How old do you reckon she was?
She was probably about 90.
She was 101.
Oh.
Yep, and her son also competed. He actually lives in Canada, and he was 76, and they both competed. So she ended up winning 4 gold medals because she was the only one in her age category that was competing there.
Now, we have on our show, we have a rendition of Gold Coasters, CFM's very own Alpha Bucks, but we call ours the Rapid Question Fire Round. Now, this has been a top hit with our 2 special guests, with Nat and Ben. So they answered all our questions correctly. So now it's your turn to answer the hard, turning questions that all the fans want to know.
Oh geez, I'm a little bit nervous.
So the first question is, what is your favourite sport?
My favourite sport would be netball.
Oh. Well, my little cousin Georgia plays netball, so she's almost in professional.
Wow, amazing. I used to work in the netball industry, so
she lives in the ACT, so yeah.
Big fans down there.
Yeah. So who is your favourite supercar driver?
I'm going to go with Scotty McLaughlin. He's a good, solid Kiwi, good driver, always up there on the podium.
That's true. Favourite movie of all time?
Oh, do you know what? I'm not actually a big moviegoer, but I did see with one of my very good friends in the weekend, Bohemian Rhapsody, and it was brilliant.
That is an inspiring story, Bohemian Rhapsody. I saw it, and straight away, the music of Queen, Freddie Mercury, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Now, what is your favourite place? Would you prefer Gold Coast or New Zealand?
Oh, that's a really tough question. Oh my gosh. New Gold Coast. No, okay, let's say right now in this particular moment of my life, definitely the Gold Coast.
Favourite place to be. Now, what is your favourite chocolate bar?
Chocolate bar? Let's go with, it's a Cadbury flavour. It's called Black Forest. It's not actually that popular in Australia, but you can get it, and I think it's delicious.
Now, we want to know who created the pavlova.
Oh, definitely me. No, it is a Kiwi dessert, which I argue with my Australian partner all the time. He thinks it's Australian, but I definitely am going to swear that it's a Kiwi dessert.
Now, I've done some research on this, such as pavlova debacle.
Yes.
Now, it's known to be both an Australian and a Kiwi dessert. It has meringue, it has cream, and it also has the healthiest ingredients of them all. Not vegetables, but fruit.
Yes.
So, it was named, did you know the pavlova was named after one of Russia's biggest ballerinas back in the day, Anna Pavlova, back in 1920.
I had no idea, but that is a great fact that I will take home with me tonight.
Yes. So, thank you for coming to the broadcast, and thank you so much for coming to Top Guest Studio.
No, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you and answer all of these great questions, so thank you.
Yeah, so now I know everything there is to know about sport from New Zealand. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe. Awesome.
Alright guys, now stay tuned for my next guest. So, stay tuned for our next special guest, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and like my channel. Alright guys, till next time, stay happy. Alright guys, bye.